Don't forget to join me for my live event this Saturday, May 4th at noon Mountain Daylight Time. I will be doing a special event as I drive down south for my wild adventure. Check out the link in the description below to watch the event as well as see what time it will be held on your local time zone. Okay, so here we are roughly 36 hours later. So it's the next day and it's evening instead of morning. And we haven't handled the baby since we first checked them. There's no need to at this point. We just give a quick little peek and let them be on their way. So let's take a look and see. So this is Maher's litter. And just like, so if we want to check out the babies, we just give her a little food. Come on, Maher.
There's babies in the room.
See, we've got 8 that have survived so far in this litter. And these guys are about 32 hours old, 34 hours old. And they're doing well.
Dad.
So we've got 4 in this litter. This is Brock's offspring by Taz. Do you want to see the baby Mink? Aren't they cute?
Baby, are they cute?
Yeah, you can't hold them yet. They're too little. In a week we can hold them, okay? And no other litters yet. It's just these 2, so we're waiting on 3 other potential litters. We'll have to just wait and see when they come. And let's show you a little bit of what we've been doing with the MinkLand and the updates on mink proofing the yard. So we've got all of this mink proofed back here. So if you see, we got all the wire covered up. There's a little bit of granite there. And we run the wire down in this hole. If you remember, I dug this all out and then realized I didn't want to do that. So I filled it in with dirt and I put the sod back down. And here is where I'd stopped digging, and so it comes up. And you see this grass has had a little bit of a hard time. But over here, you can see the grass is doing very well, just like I described it would do, growing through the wire. And eventually, this is about a week. Give this a couple weeks and eventually this will be invisible as far as where the wire starts and ends. And there's other parts, if you come see, it gets even better. If you look right here, you could barely even, it's really starting to swallow the wire and do very well. So just give this a couple more weeks and it should hopefully have got to the point where I was hoping, where it's impossible to tell where the wire starts and begins. And so we continued the wire all the way along the fence. So if you look along this side of the fence, I used the granite slabs, and the granite goes all along the edge of this fence. And I've got it all laid out. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to bury it over with these wood chips the way it was before, so it just looks like straight wood chips. You can't tell where the granite begins or where the granite ends. So that'll keep the mink from digging out and getting under that fence. So we've got this all covered, the other part's covered with wire, and pretty close to getting done on this little stretch of the project. And I'll show you guys more as we progress. I wanted to show you guys one other thing. I had a bunch of questions. Figured I'd answer them now in this video, so come follow me over here. So I've had people asking, so what do you do with the baby rats after they're weaned off the mamas? And so this basically answers that question. So after we take the little baby rats to the mamas, like I showed in the previous video, I'll put a link in the description below. If you haven't seen that video, you don't know what I'm talking about, watch that link, or just follow that link and it'll explain that. So basically, after I take the little baby rats to the surrogate mothers, once they're weaned, I take them and bring them home, put them in a cage, something like this. So you see I got a ton of little rats. These are all, old enough to take care of themselves. We're just raising them up. And what do I do with them at this point? So once they get big enough, I use them for training young mink or young dogs. And of course, we use their bodies for feeding them. So basically I feed them, if you notice back there, I've just got some random scraps. So I get them food from the dumpster basically. So this is Little Caesar's Pizza. So they get a 100% natural diet. What a rat would eat in the wild, they're eating in the cage. So I don't pay a penny to feed them. Just feed them old produce, or in this case pizza. And if you look in that corner, my buddy Sky accidentally gave me one of his rats. So Sky actually gets to use some of the rats themselves for, you know, raising them. But this one, oh, he ran away. Let me catch her. Here she is. This little rat, she is not a wild rat. She's a domestic rat. And neither of us noticed till I got her home. But she's actually very different than the wild ones. If you'll notice, she's a lot calmer. See, I'm sitting there petting her. These guys are semi-tame. I wouldn't really call them tame. They're a lot more tame than, you know, what rat you just recently caught. But they sure will run, and they sure will bite you. This little girl being a domestic, she is tame. The domestic rats have a very different demeanor than the wild ones. I couldn't hold a wild one like this. They'd scamper off and panic. And so, just naturally, even though it's raised with wild rats in the exact same situation as wild rats, the domestic rats have a much more calm demeanor. They're a lot slower moving, and they're just totally different. Actually, their shape is different too. Let's see if you can... Where did she run off to? If you notice, her shape is a little different than these wild rats. They have more of a torpedo shape. I know it's a vague difference. You might not tell. She's a little bit fatter. So they're eating the exact same diet, living in the exact same enclosure, but she will get a little fatter and has less of an athletic build than these little guys. They're a little more streamlined, and they're a lot quicker. And their physical abilities, they can jump higher, run faster. They're just a lot quicker moving animal, because selection has obviously, natural selection has selected the ones who are quick, and the slow ones don't reproduce. They become mink food or hawk food or whatever. So yeah, anyway, so that answers the question. I raise these guys up till they're bigger, and then I use them for training mink or young mink or young dogs, and feed the bodies to the mink, or I sell them. I might sell these as snake food, and because they're bigger, they're worth more. So yeah, that answers that question. Let me know if you guys have any other questions.